pride, passion, and pageantry of college football lives here. This is the Paul Feinbaum Show, Hour 2 podcast.
This might be college football heaven.
We continue. Busy afternoon here, and our back-to-school special rolls on. This time, College Station is where we go as we are working our way through third day of this now. And Trey Bohne with the A&M Battalion joining us now. Trey, good afternoon. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for having me. You know, it's the best time of year, right? Football's right around the corner.
It is pretty fun. Well, tell us what's happening. This is a playoff team from last year. Everybody's pretty upbeat, top 10 ranking. What's the vibe on campus?
Yeah, I think energy is up. You know, we're all pumped up, ready to go. No matter if A&M goes 10-2 or 7-5, Kyle Field is max capacity, full to the brim. But I think everybody's kind of still holding their breath a little bit to see if, you know, this success is sustainable and if Mike Elko can kind of match what he did last year and replace a lot of those guys we lost to the draft and, you know, keep on rolling along and building this program up to what we know it can be. But, you know, we're always excited, always ready to go. That never wavers, but we're still kind of holding our breath, waiting to exhale to see how the team does this year.
Yeah, a little different than in years past when you had that couple of monster early games, one opening weekend, I think 2 years ago, last year, a second week. But in terms of the issues, everybody pretty much has defined issues, but with Marcel Reed back, what is the biggest concern?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, those final two games of the year against Texas and Miami were kind of a little bit lackluster. You know, he threw a pair of picks in either game, got out-dueled by Arch Manning and Carson Beck. So that kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth. But, you know, like experts have said before, everybody kind of looks at what happened at the end of the season and forgets the amazing things that happened earlier in the year, like against Notre Dame. So we're waiting to see what he does. But, you know, there's still kind of that energy of, you know, he's a third-year starting quarterback. We're waiting to see kind of, you know, you shouldn't take a step back. We're ready to see him get down to action and keep it rolling. And there's not really as much excuses not to this year. So we're excited to see him go, but just ready to see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to harp on it, but it's the image of the season. Throwing that pick against Miami, it propelled them to nearly a national championship, and it crushed A&M at home, something you work hard to do. So drilling down on Marcel, what do you hear from coaches in relation to being different? I mean, it's hard to get out of pressure-packed moments, and those are two amazing ones that we're talking about here.
Yeah. I think one thing a lot of people are going back to is, you know, the Aggies lost Casey Concepcion to the NFL draft, probably one of the Aggies' best receivers and, you know, since Mike Evans maybe. But with Isaiah Horton coming in, with Craver coming back, with, you know, guys like Terry Bussey coming in, returning, I think there's a lot of excitement that he has the tools around him. You know, Holloman Wiggins, he's coming back, first year as offensive coordinator. So he kind of has some new tools around him, but, you know, he's kind of the focal point around this new team they're building. He has that history with Isaiah Horton from Nashville. They train together. Everybody's preaching this chemistry that's going on there. So there's lots of excitement. There's lots of we kind of know he has the tools around him. It's just now up to him for if he can put it all together and keep it steady going throughout the whole year.
Yeah, let me talk about the defense for a moment. That is certainly Mike Elko's specialty, and it was not a problem too often during last season. How high are the expectations on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I think it all just kind of comes down to, can these transfer replacements, you know, get to work and find success kind of in the trenches and, you know, in that front seven. You know, every year, kind of year in, year out, Mike Elko has shown that he can produce, you know, NFL caliber rushers and pass attackers. But with Anto Saka coming in, it's kind of, you know, can they keep this going, or are we going to fall off? Can they reinforce what he's already got going and get everybody in there, or, you know, is it kind of going to be a down year? So I think it's going to go well. I think it's going good, but, we're just kind of waiting to see if those transfers can find success down there.
Trey, we have spent such a large amount of time talking about schedules, and Oklahoma has this or Texas has that. I haven't really heard as much talk about A&M, but their road schedule is pretty ridiculous. When you think about at LSU, at Missouri, at Alabama, at Oklahoma. I know you have the Texas game at home, but there's a lot of, and I haven't even mentioned some of the other games. I mean, there's a lot of landmines on that schedule.
Yeah, I think a lot of the talk following the 10-2 season was, A&M was a product of their schedule, and that it was an easy schedule or say whatnot. But A&M doesn't get to choose their schedule. I think it's a lot tougher this year, but it kind of sets you up for, you could take a step forward and still go 9-3, still go 10-2. You could lose more games this year, but improve. So I think the schedule and the record are kind of, not the most clear indicator of what the team does this year. I think you've got a lot of tests early on, and then obviously that gauntlet at the end of the year. So a lot less room to stumble. You could lose one game here and kind of your season's already looking down, but I think it allows you to just have success no matter what your record shows.
Listen, the best way to describe all these predictions is nobody really knows, but on that campus, you hear it every day in your office, out with your friends. I mean, is there a consensus number that most of the people seem to be coalescing around?
Yeah, I think the consensus is really either 9-3 or 10-2. A lot of people are, maybe looking through maroon-colored glasses and expecting the best and not expecting a drop-off at all, not recognizing that there's, new coordinators, or a lot of guys lost the NFL. They're kind of just seeing the success and being like, hey, we're going to do that again. But I think a 9-3, 10-2 is the main consensus. No one's really putting all their chips on, a 5-7 season or a 12-0, 13-0 season, but I think people are kind of expecting sustained success with a schedule like this, maybe a step back at 9-3, but good spirits, everybody's up, no one's predicting doomsday or anything, but lots of excitement going on, and we'll see what happens.
Trey, in most seasons it wouldn't be that big a deal, but trying to trust this CFP committee, I wouldn't trust them with a 9-3 record. There is a big difference in going to the playoffs and not. Great to talk to you. Hope to see you as the year goes on. Fantastic conversation there with Trey Bohne from the Battalion. We'll head to Auburn in a few minutes as we continue plowing through the student reporters of the SEC.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
Back to school week continues. And if you're a student reporter and your editor says to a friend, hey, we got a gunner on our staff, you have to be in Auburn right now, because that's where we go. Gunner Norene from the Plainsman, one of the most respected school digital publications and publications in the country. Gunner, first of all, thank you. Great to have you on. What's it like down there at Auburn as everything is gearing up for 2 weeks from now?
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. Yes, sir. I think so far, there's a lot of optimism, I think, around Golish and Byron Brown in this new era. I think Byron Brown brings a lot of, experience in this offense, in his third year, I believe, or fourth year, I believe, after, over from South Florida. So, I don't know. I guess just a lot of optimism, and that defense also is going to be elite again, I think. They kept a lot of, Auburn in, of those games last year. And so I think, I think I just, as a whole, it's a very, I don't know. It's a very optimistic feeling so far.
Gunner, you're there. I'm a bit of a distance away, but in Alabama these days, it just feels like something is different. And I know, we can spare the audience all the Hugh Freeze jokes, but how would you describe these last 8 or 9 months since Alex Golish landed there in early December?
I think in my eyes, it's been like an entirely new program. I mean, last year, all of the jokes, around Hugh Freeze's golf game, and he had all those tee times, scheduled, on Sundays and stuff. I think, Golish, at in December after he was hired, he was always like, I don't play golf. Like, I coach ball. I don't have any hobbies and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome for Auburn fans to hear that, especially from a guy, who just has just a massive edge on his shoulder. And I think that's something that Auburn has been missing for a long time, is just a guy who just has a fire about him. And I think he also brings that. And I think like his guys feed off of that too. And it's just awesome, like just to see, just the whole like establishment of just his culture, and just he's just so process driven. He so like detail oriented, and I think that's just like what Auburn has lacked over the past half decade. They've lost 7 games in the last 5 years, like 5 straight 7-loss seasons. That's just like really really poor, obviously. So I do have faith making it onto this level again.
Talking to Gunnar Norene from the Auburn Plainsman about Alex Golish. You're on campus, so you have a lot of friends. Is the feeling the same from the student body who has been witness to some miserable football the last 6 or 7 years?
It's definitely changed. I think, from what I've talked to and what I've seen on campus. I mean, obviously, Golish has been, around town, just different sporting events also on campus. And I think that's just this, it's so just awesome to see. I think, if you're an Auburn fan, to just see him, just out, just, I think he gets Auburn, if you know what I mean? Like, he understands, like, how big it really is to campus and to the students and, in this town. And they've lacked, like, solid football for the last, like, 7-8 years. Only Auburn has won 7 games since 2019 in Bo Nix's freshman year. So that was 4 head coaching changes ago, if I do my math right. I'm a journalism major, so
yeah,
I'm not exactly
you're
sure.
absolutely right.
But I do think there's just a new era. I mean, it's just a new feeling. It just feels different. I mean, it's cliche to say for a new era, for a new head coach, but I mean, it does feel a lot different for sure.
Gunnar, a year ago, we sat on shows like this and talked about that trip to Baylor and how critical it was to Hugh Freeze's career. And he wins the game, pretty impressive, and then did nothing else the rest of the season. So we're back to Baylor again. This game's in Atlanta, not at Jordan-Hare Stadium where it should be. So Gunnar, as everybody looks toward this game here in just a little bit over 2 weeks, Auburn is supposed to win, unlike last year. What is your sense of what direction this outcome of the game will telltale for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think Auburn fans at first were kind of like, oh, like this kind of sucks, like a less game in Jordan-Hare. But I think either way, I think Auburn should win this game. I think just from a roster standpoint, from a talent standpoint, I think they have a massive advantage. On Baylor's offense, I believe they lost 10 of their starters from a year ago on offense. So I think that also plays a factor in it as well. I don't know. It's also going to be an Auburn home game, like 1,000%. I mean, Atlanta and Nashville, in my opinion, are like the two most crowded Auburn alumni bases in the Southeast and in the country, really. So it's definitely going to be a home crowd. It's going to be rocking. I think if Auburn loses that game, it's definitely going to cause some concern. It's going to be like, okay, what's happening here? I don't think that's going to happen. But I think if it did, obviously that could cause some panic. But just from a roster standpoint, from just an energy standpoint, I don't see Auburn dropping that game.
Yeah, Gunnar, explain this to the audience. I vaguely remember the story when John Cohn moved the game, and he talked about, I think, a couple of $1 million going back into whatever. That sounded like a lot of money at the time. It doesn't really anymore. What is the view from? It doesn't matter. If you want to see the game, you have to drive to Atlanta, which is an hour and 30, 40 minutes away. But what is the feeling on campus of not having that first game at a place that Auburn fans love?
Yeah, I think at first it was kind of like, oh, like this kind of sucks. I think now people have really I I think that they understand the fact that, it's what you have to do, in this stage of college sports. You know what I mean? I think I've heard amounts from around 6 mil to 8 mil in terms of what Auburn is going to be making in NIL from in this game. So I think it makes a lot of sense. I think students and fans have kind of warmed up to the idea in a sense. It's not as sad as it was in October, but it makes a lot of sense to me. Just in terms of just monetary earnings. That I think that stem from this game. But yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I know the next game is going to be against Southern Miss, which is fine, but that'll be fun. Obviously a home game, but assuming Auburn is 2-0, I realize you haven't seen a lot of great games in your tenure, but how big is that Florida game going to be on that campus?
That game is absolutely massive. It's going to be rocking. I believe Auburn hasn't hosted Florida in Jordan-Hare since 2011,
right?
I believe, and that was when I was 5 years old. So I remember that's great. But I just know that it should be a huge rivalry. It's going to be rocking under the lights. Summerall coming in, against Goalish, that whole thing with Auburn's and John Summerall, in the last cycle. But I think it will be rocking. A new quarterback for Florida and Aaron Philo, assuming he wins the job. But yeah, I believe it's a 6 p.m. kick, so it'll be rocking. That game is absolutely massive, I think, for both teams. It just has massive implications in terms of just like starting yourself on the right foot in SEC play. It was just establishing yourself as just as a true contender. So I do think Auburn wins that game, but not by much. But I think if it was at Florida, I'd have a lot. Just at home, I just think it helps a lot.
Gunnar, finally, what would be considered success for Goalish in year one?
Yeah, I think he says just laying a foundation for years to come. That's what he said a lot of times, at media days and stuff like that. Just having an identity that he wants to, create and build in year one, which I definitely understand that. But I think in terms of a win total for like fans and for students and for media, I think success probably means 7 or 8 wins. I probably leave more on the 8-4 side. I mean, I think Auburn wins Baylor. Something was obviously Florida. I think it's not a light task at all. I think Vanderbilt goes down in Jordan-Hare. So that I think Auburn wins for this first 4 games, and then at Tennessee I think it's going to be a tough game. But I do think actually Auburn starts out 5-0, and at Georgia, host LSU, at Ole Miss. I think October is going to be super, super tough and super, super important. But yeah, I think Auburn starts off 5-0 and loses the next 3, October, and then it's a tad bit more manageable in November. Arkansas, Mississippi State, Stanford. I think Auburn wins all of those 3, and then I think they lose Alabama. So I have them going 8-4. Heading to a bowl game for the first time in a few years. I think 8-4 would create a lot of excitement around Auburn. And obviously a bowl game also would do great. Things for Auburn if they win that game.
Gunnar, I think that would be amazing. Gunnar Norene, thank you very much. Fantastic job from the Plainsman. Hope to see you soon. We head to the break. We are coming right back. A number of other student reporters will join us here. Plenty of time for your phone calls as well.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
We're back. We have some breaking news. Tennessee and Alabama will both wear their home jerseys for the games in 26 and 27. That has not happened since 1970. That was 56 years ago. So you'll get the 2 best colors in college football on the field at the same time, the crimson and the orange, on the 3rd Saturday in October. That will be quite a sight to see. Game in Neyland Stadium in Knoxville. Vance is up next.
Hey, Paul. I now understand why Oklahoma fans are irritated with you. I mean,
just wait.
It's like one of the most storied programs in the history of the country, and you're like, well, it's not like they're Oklahoma. I didn't know that happened. That's the first time I heard it.
Oh yeah, no, and it was, sometimes you do plan violence against a football fan base. This was purely accidental. I mean, I was just stuck. I was on live TV and I got a question and I had to answer it. And Oklahoma was the first. And by the way, I'm sorry that I haven't done this in a couple of years. I used to give them a hard time when Bob Stoops and Lincoln Riley was there. But I genuinely liked Venables. But their fan base is so thin-skinned, Vance, that I think we got a new pet toy on this show.
Well, my original reason for callings have been usurped a little bit by other things I heard. I am gonna say something to my friend Daryl in Columbus, who I have nothing against. But please understand something. You made a statement that because number one, he still suffers from Sabinitis. I'm sure you've noticed that. But he said that because Kirby Smart, he's getting in he's impeding their ability to win a national championship because he's getting involved like Saban did. Okay, great. Daryl, there's a lot of factors about I'm going to vary here, but it goes back to the same point, Paul. There's factors here that I don't think many people really comprehend what really happened at Indiana last year and why they were so good. But one thing that is a fact, they averaged 220 yards rushing per game. Now, Paul, that's a true statement. So to say that, run, and you're not and another thing, Daryl, well, if we had people like Davis and such on the D line, all these coaches are trying to recruit guys like that every year, and they might have the same star factor, but I'll give you the simplest example of all. You think everybody didn't try to recruit Herschel Walker? These guys just don't grow on trees. Not every one of their star factors of recruiting makes them equal players. I mean, Paul, isn't that true?
That is 100% true. Yeah, I mean, Daryl, I can't help but like Daryl, but he's living in another time.
Well, I do want to – it sounds like I put down Daryl. I like Daryl.
Yeah.
And this might mean nothing to you. I want to know if his drill instructor ever told him to slow down when he was reciting his general orders. I've never – other than some guy from New York, I've never heard anyone talk faster than Daryl.
No, he's good. You're right. No, I listen. I don't. I mean, I've got relatives in the Marine Corps, and you and I both know plenty of people who served, and I would not want to hear the drill sergeant telling Daryl something, and Daryl say, "Hold on a second, there, buddy. I got something to tell you."
But we love him, and I want to say real quick, I got off my original point, but that can wait for another day. Squirrel calls in. And by the way, I'm going to do another thing critical. Chris, I've never said a bad thing about you. I'm going to say this. I don't give a damn what Legend did. That's none of our business. It's none of your business. Number two, he on 2 occasions discussed his past from many years ago, and he never had to discuss any of that to be a Feinbaum caller. So, if we're going to bring...
let me say this, Vance, about what Chris said about Legend. First of all, Legend doesn't owe me, you, or anybody else an apology. He stands on his own, and he is universally respected, unlike Chris, who has just become a laughingstock for going after legend, fair game, but then his underhanded kamikaze attack on I-Man, who, if you did a poll of the most beloved people that have ever appeared on this show, he would be on Mount Rushmore.
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to attack Chris, but some things are not. We don't need to know any of Legend's business, and he doesn't owe us a damn word about it. And he never did, but he revealed this, and for that reason, he's been the most transparent caller I've ever heard.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And
I wanted to say this about Squirrel.
Yeah,
I got to say this. So, you know how you get these gut feelings?
Mm-hmm.
And Squirrel caught, and he's talking to you, and I'm like, uh-oh, he's got one coming. Oh, God, Vance, he's going to get on you. I knew he was going to get on somebody, and he's talking about this poor woman that fell down in the street. I'm like, oh, my God, this sounds terrible. And he goes, Paul, she was old. She was about Jim's age.
That was great. I mean, I mean, like Jim or not, and I've been very transparent on that subject. It was a shot that I just didn't see coming.
I knew it was coming, but the man is consistent, and I enjoy his calls. And hey, I'm not trying to play kumbaya here, but I believe everyone I've talked about would help me, or I'd help them. So have a good evening, my friend.
You bet, Vance. Always great. Trey is up next.
Hey, Paul. Since you brought up Daryl, I'm gonna throw something at Daryl. He said things sure have changed. And Paul, there is one thing that hasn't changed, and that's Kirby's inability to beat Alabama at one time. I mean, as bad as the board is, he's still 2-1 against Kirby. And I remember last year, Daryl coming on your show and guarantee you there is no way that Kalen DeBoer in Alabama comes into Athens and beats Kirby and ends that winning streak. And they did it anyway. And I'm going to say it again. I say this all the time. Whenever he calls in the show and he makes a prediction, Georgia fans get ready, because it does not happen. Just the opposite happens. But, Paul, I got a question for you. I'm going to get your answer, and I'm going to give you mine. How come so many people are caught up in who the starter is going to be at Alabama? Why is that such a big deal?
It is just a part of college football when there is a prominent position open, which quarterback is the most prominent, and Alabama has not really had a real competition, and there's one that everybody wants to win. It becomes a big deal. Trey, thanks for the call. Appreciate it very much. Greg is up next in Alabama. Hello, Greg.
Hey, Paul. How you doing today?
We're doing great.
Paul, just listen, Notre Dame. Come on, Paul. If 20 schools has the schedule that Notre Dame got this year, they'll be in the top 4. They ain't playing nobody, man. They ain't playing nobody but BYU and Miami, man. The Senate needs to make a bill for Notre Dame to get in the conference so they can play somebody. I thought they gonna stop getting school automatic bids to the playoff. They just gave Notre Dame automatic bids to the playoff, man. Come on, man. Notre Dame shouldn't even be missing on TV until they play BYU and Miami, man.
You are right, Greg. I can't find any fault. You're right.
Thank you, Paul.
That doesn't mean they're not a good team, but their path is ridiculous. Thank you for the call. Up against the break. Yeah, appreciate it. We're back after this. More to come.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.
We're back, and more guests coming up here in a few minutes. The reappearance of fairly well-known caller. That coming up in about an hour. Right now, Gunny in Georgia. Hello, Gunny.
Hello, Paul.
Hey there.
Hey, I've just called today. I'm looking forward to hearing my legend back on. So But
Yes, sir.
I got a prediction I like to make. And so
Okay.
This is coming. This is from 84 years old. A prediction. You ready for it?
I couldn't be any more ready.
Texas and Georgia both go to the SEC championship game, and Texas and Georgia both play in the national championship game.
Okay.
Also, LSU and Ole Miss both make the playoffs. So it'll be Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and LSU in the playoffs, and Georgia or Texas, and I predicted Texas will win the SEC championship, and Georgia will win the national championship.
Well, that's fantastic. Thanks, Gunny. Ray is up next. Good afternoon, Ray.
Hey, Paul. I want to say something make some comments about Legend coming back or his situation. Number one, I think Legend flew too close to the sun with that Sankey interview. What do you think about that?
Well, listen, I don't want. This is where I would normally say, Ray, I have no idea what it's all about, but I do. I think there, and I've talked to everybody, and I don't want to relitigate. I think there was a miscommunication by both sides. I think it was something that happened that should not have happened. I wish I had been right there. I wasn't that far from it when it happened. I think I could have solved it. I know I sound like the president in the Oval Office saying I can solve all issues, but I really think I could have. I tried to help ameliorate.
Next destination, Strait of Hormuz.
I'm heading there right as we hang this call up. I got my buggy outside. Yeah. I tried to ameliorate situation down there, but tempers were a little high. I won't say any more because Legend will address it all. I feel like there are some people to blame, but I'm not going to do that right now because my main goal is getting him back and getting him back to where he belongs on some of the other things he was doing.
Well, here's where I stand on it. He didn't come back with the people who took him down there.
No.
And one of the individuals that took him down there, when he was asked about it, sounded like an idiot. I mean, he stumbled around, bumbled around, and he frankly just didn't want to talk about it. And this is Legend's friend. So,
Ray, let me tell you something, okay?
Sure.
I don't know that person as well as Legend does. I think you know me well enough to know we probably have some pretty similar feelings about that. All I think that matters in a dispute, though, is to find some common ground. I'm not a litigator. I'm not a mediator.
I understand that.
But I think everyone had to move on. I think some people took themselves a little too seriously, and I'm not speaking about Legend here, okay? And knowing the parties, I feel like I know how it happened, and if we can put it all back together again, then that's a good result. I'll share some of my I'll share some other stories, my other feelings with you in another forum. How about that?
I would like to believe this, Paul. I would like to believe that if I carried a friend down there and a situation happened like that, I would be a little bit better about coming to my friend's defense. Change subject real quick.
Well,
here we go,
Ray,
Paul,
but that's why your friend, you have some. I feel like I know you well enough that you got some pretty close friends, and they will do that for you, and you would do that for them. Everyone is not like that.
No, that's right. That's right. Breaking news, Paul. Former LSU. Here's the sound. The sound of this story to the sound of a toilet flushing. Former LSU and current Tampa Bay Buccaneer defensive back Jack Tyburn filed a lawsuit today against the NCAA seeking a preliminary injunction that would give him the option of returning to college.
By
It's coming
all
apart,
means.
Paul.
And now, let me sound like some sleazebag senator, okay? And that's why we need Congress to fix our problems.
It's not happening, Paul. It's not going to happen.
No.
We've got to go forward. No, you know, with factual knowledge that nothing's going to be
but
done
Ray,
before midterm.
what you related to there, that's a very narrow ruling that happened, and there are players coming out of closets right now trying to get back into college football. It's absurd. There's no reason for it, but everything else about the sport is equally absurd. Remember that.
Yep. Great talking to you, man.
Thank you. Always great to hear from you. Let's check in with Matt in Georgia. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Paul. I just want to check in with you. I was watching the Little League World Series. I want to preface this by saying I'm a Georgia Bulldog fan.
Yes, sir.
But when we have a team in the Southeast, when I say we, I mean us in the Southeast, in the World Series, the Little League World Series, absolutely disgraceful. I think the coaching from Alabama is bleeding down into the younger crowd. And we just had a young man made the third out on a base running error by his coach telling him to go when we're in the middle of the game. Our pitcher happens to be a female, and she's throwing an excellent game.
Mm-hmm.
She's thrown about half as many pitches as the team from Washington,
Right.
and it looked like we were going to win. I'm not sure what's going to happen now.
Yeah, well, it's only in the 6th inning, so we'll let you know. We got it on right here. We're coming right back.
You're listening to the Paul Feinbaum Show podcast.